The obsidian halls of the Draconic Archive stretched endlessly before Evan Core, as he pushed his maintenance cart through corridors that had witnessed 10,000 years of history. Most humans would have trembled at the mere thought of working among dragons, but Evan had long since grown accustomed to the rumbling voices that echoed through the crystalline chambers and the occasional burst of flame that illuminated the darkness. He was just a janitor. Nothing more, nothing less. The dragons barely noticed him as he swept their floors and polished their ancient manuscripts behind protective glass. To them, he was furniture, a necessary but forgettable part of their daily existence. The younger dragons, barely 3 centuries old, would sometimes knock over pedestals or scatter scrolls in their enthusiastic debates about philosophy and quantum mechanics. Evan would simply clean up after them, invisible and unremarked upon. It was during one such cleaning session that everything changed. A young dragon named Vorth had been struggling with a mathematical proof for weeks. The creature's frustration manifested in small jets of smoke that made Evan's eyes water as he mopped nearby. The dragon muttered equations in the old tongue, his claws scratching furiously at a slate board that towered 3 times Evan's height. "You're approaching it wrong," Evan said quietly, more to himself than to the dragon. The great chamber fell silent. Vorth's golden eyes swiveled to fix upon the human janitor with an intensity that would have turned most men to stone. "What did you say, mammal?" Evan's heart hammered, but he'd already spoken. No sense in backing down now. "Your proof. You're trying to solve it linearly, but the answer requires lateral thinking. Look at the inverse relationship between the variables in the 3rd line." The dragon stared, then, slowly, turned back to his slate. His claw moved, erasing, recalculating. Minutes passed in tense silence. Then Vorth released a sound, something between a laugh and a roar of triumph. "By the first flame. You're correct, human. How did you—" "I have a master's degree in theoretical mathematics," Evan replied, wringing out his mop. "Turns out it doesn't pay as well as janitorial work on a dragon archive." Word spread quickly through the ancient halls. The human janitor who understood dragon mathematics became a curiosity, then a resource, then something approaching a teacher. Young dragons began seeking him out during his rounds, asking questions about human problem-solving methods, human logic, human perspectives on ancient riddles. Evan taught them while he cleaned. He explained human concepts of creativity and adaptability while scrubbing floors. He demonstrated lateral thinking while changing light fixtures. The young dragons absorbed his lessons with a hunger that surprised them both. It was after 6 months of this unusual arrangement that Sirith the Emberwing summoned him. The mother dragon was ancient beyond reckoning, her scales like beaten copper touched with eternal flame. She resided in the deepest chamber of the archive, a place where even elder dragons spoke in whispers. Evan had never been summoned to her presence before. He'd never expected to be. The chamber was vast and warm, heated by veins of magma that ran beneath the floor. Sirith reclined upon a bed of precious metals and gems that would have bankrupted nations, but her eyes, those ancient knowing eyes, were fixed entirely upon him. "Evan Core." Her voice resonated in his bones. "You have done something remarkable." "I've just been helping where I could, Your Eminence. You have taught dragons to think like humans." Sirith shifted, and the movement was like tectonic plates rearranging themselves. "Do you know why this matters?" Evan shook his head, suddenly aware of how small and fragile he was in this moment. For 10,000 years, we dragons have prided ourselves on our superiority. Our intelligence, our magic, our longevity, all evidence of our dominance over the younger races. Sirith's gaze grew distant. "But we have become stagnant, Evan Core. We think in the same patterns our ancestors did. We solve problems the same way they were solved millennia ago. We are brilliant, yes, but we are unchanging." She leaned forward, and Evan felt the heat radiating from her massive form. "You humans, with your brief mayfly lives, you are forced to think differently, to adapt, to find new solutions because you don't have centuries to perfect the old ones. What we dismissed as primitive desperation, I now see as remarkable flexibility." Evan's mind raced. "You're saying—" I'm saying that in 6 months you have taught young dragons to solve problems that have stumped their elders for decades. You have introduced new perspectives to minds that have calcified over centuries. You, a simple janitor with a mop and bucket, have done what our greatest philosophers could not. You have shown us how to change. Siraith rose to her full height, and her wings spread like a canopy of living fire. I have a secret to share with you, Evancor, one that will shake the foundations of everything my kind believes. She paused, her ancient eyes boring into his. We dragons are not the pinnacle of evolution we believed ourselves to be. We are the end point, beautiful, powerful, but ultimately static. You humans, messy and short-lived as you are still evolving, still adapting, still reaching. Her voice dropped to something approaching reverence. You are what we once were, before we became perfect, and in your imperfection lies a potential we can never reclaim. Evan stood in stunned silence, his mop forgotten, as the weight of her words settled upon him. So I ask you, Evancor, will you continue teaching our young, not as a janitor but as a master of human philosophy? Will you help us remember what it means to grow? Evan looked down at his calloused hands, then back up at the mother dragon. A smile slowly spread across his face. I'll need a bigger classroom, he said, and maybe someone else to do the mopping. Siraith's laughter was like thunder and music combined, echoing through the ancient halls where dragons had learned to see themselves anew through the eyes of a simple human who'd never stopped reaching for more.